we need to talk about the everything is men's fault problem by the Dadvocate. We have reacted to her before. We have reacted to her before. A certain someone complained that she's a pygmy. Regardless, anyways. Also, please consider liking and subscribing. I appreciate it. Yeah, let's see it. Yeah, everything's men's fault. Womanist period. Men's fault. Woman falls from bicycle. Men's fault. Woman stubs her toe. Men's fault. It is what it is. I don't bark for him. He's not into that. Well, is he the one barking?
So done with this motherfucker, y'all. I'm so done with this motherfucker. Look at this. My damn gas.
What on earth? Wait, what? She broke his... That's got... No... So, from what it looks like, she tore it apart, okay? Right? And then she washed it in the washing machine. Remember, mascots are professional first. Until we meet again. Bye. Take care, GT. Bye-bye. How is she a pick me? She's married. She has been picked, I'm aware.
Dang! Up in a damn... What? What? What my PS5 gotta do with us?
Comments read, oh, you been cheating. Now tell the people what you did. She was just washing it for you.
Slapping my BF for no reason.
That's abuse. Even for a joke, that's abuse. Right there. That's abuse. Even this joke, that is abuse. That is abuse. By the way, we have a video later on talking about violence in relationships, normalized violence in relationships as well.
Another one? Her slap made him waked up. Girl, it's okay. I did the same thing. Why do guys do that dramatic thing with their eyes? My boyfriend be doing that. For real. Yes, he was being so dramatic responding to you slapping him upside the head multiple times for no reason. So dramatic. This says, I don't get jealous, I get insane.
What the fuck? Yo, what on earth? That's crazy. That is insane. Okay, wow. I hate those hitting my BF trends. Like, why are we normalizing DV against men? Because they're men and it's fine. You know, a man can take a hit.
Caption reads, 10 pounds and I'll do your exes as well. We don't react this way for nothing. We accept this. 10 pounds? I'll give you 50 pounds, girl. I see no problem here. This used to be me. I miss those days. Love this. Go, girl. Finally, my people. This isn't insane, by the way.
At least she's self-aware. She looks mental. Do you understand now why I'm saying I'm scared of women? Do you understand now why I say I'm scared of women? I am scared.
Do you do weddings? When's your next availability?
Hi guys, I'm so excited because I'm gonna go key my ex's car in like an hour. Follow if you want to see me key his car. It's actually his truck, but I just woke up and I decided I wanted to key it. I'm wearing this pajama set that I just got from TJ Maxx because it's so cute and girly, and like if he sees me, I want to look hot, so I'm keeping my makeup on. My hair is a little wavy because, yeah, if he sees me, I just need to look good. It's 8 o'clock right now, and I'm probably gonna go at like 8:45. Whenever.
Is that cross decoration? Is it? Is that cross decoration? That is a decoration. Like I scare you, don't I? It's okay, little bro. I'll show you scare. I'll show you. Don't worry.
It's darker so that I don't get caught on the Ring doorbell, because then there's no proof that I did it.
Oh, you're worried about
I don't have like a ski mask or anything. Also, like I said,
this is
I
probably
good,
not
so
a
I'm
good
not
idea.
gonna wear a ski mask.
If you're worried
So
about
yeah, follow if you want to see me in Kia's car. The video should be up in like an hour and 20 minutes.
Like your full name
I
is
just
your
take my water bottle, and I think I look. This is a cute king car outfit. It's not a car. It's a truck. I don't know why I keep saying car.
LMAO, I like you, you're funny. My first impression, and I look up to you. There is a unique phenomenon where whenever something bad happens to a man, society's knee-jerk reaction seems to be,
Well, what did he do? There's no proof I did it. While she says while filming. You see, the good thing about everybody wanting to be a content creator is that we also get dumb people filming themselves committing crimes right there. That is the only great thing about this time. But yeah, it is very interesting. It's always, what did he do? Maybe she's also just incredibly deranged. Ever consider that?
well, what did he do to deserve it? There is this automatic presumption that no matter what happened to him, no matter how horrible, he must have done something to bring it on himself, especially if a woman is involved. After all, women can't possibly cause harm in relationships.
Right? They're like innocent little angels. I was asked that too, in both cases, right? I got cheated on. What did I do? Nothing that warrants cheating, that's for sure.
No, the man must have done something to make her act that way. And it's not just in relationships. If a man gets laid off or loses his job, well, he must have effed up somehow. But especially with relationships. If there's a divorce, he must have been a dogshit husband. And don't even get me started on false allegations. Even when an allegation is proven to be demonstrably false, very rarely will that man ever see justice or even recover from the
Exactly. We watched this video of this dude. He's younger than me. His girl ruined his ex-girlfriend ruined his life essentially. She was just basically leaking screenshots, right? But that was enough for others to essentially start the rumor that he raped her. And nobody wanted to have anything to do with him, even though he did nothing. Just because he broke up with her. So I'd be incredibly careful.
the damage of those allegations. People tend to just shrug their shoulders and say, oopsie, and move on and leave him to just pick up the pieces by himself. And so today I'm finally going to talk about it and address it. What is going on with this social reflex that kicks in whenever a man is hurt? Why is it that instead of empathy, he just immediately gets interrogation? Why is it that instead of support, all he gets is suspicion? Why is it that no matter what, men are not receiving help? They're receiving moral audits. Because that's exactly what happened in a very specific incident that I want to talk about today that inspired this video topic. I knew I had to cover this when the other day I was just scrolling through threads and I came across a horrific image of a man with a
Oh god. Well, here it is. Let's see what this is about. Be right back. Don't watch anything I might like without me here. I will not watch anything. Don't worry. There needs to be actual criminal punishment for false allegations. There should be, but that just doesn't happen, right? And even if you're right, if you're cleared of everything, right, you're never going to recover because people don't remember, right, the fact that you were not guilty. Only the fact that you were guilty. That is unfortunate, but that is how it works.
massive black eye. And the caption read, goal for 2026, find a chick that can control her emotions. The implication being that this man suffered intense and aggressive intimate partner violence at the hands of a woman. And what happened next made me just wanna...
They constantly release studies on DV against men, right? And in a more recent study, they found out about 40% of men have experienced in their life some form of violence from other partners. Let that sink in. That's very interesting. I think if you lie about being SA, you should face whatever punishment the person you lied about would have gotten if it was true. Yep. Or any punishment would be good, right? Apparently, there's also recent numbers showing that forced intimacy in relationships is about the same. It's about 3% for both genders. So men and women force each other in relationships into the bedroom. At least 3% of those, which is rather interesting. I saw a TikTok of a girl proudly talk about breaking her BF's wrist because he opened the door for another girl. What on earth? Under normal circumstances, I would say, yo, that's kind of hard. But these aren't normal circumstances.
Introduce our video sponsor before we get into the story time. What did you think I was implying? My most unhinged segue yet. I am once again so grateful to have Anson Belt & Buckle sponsoring today's video. Anson Belt & Buckle is a family-run brand that has completely reinvented the belt.
I think this is the first time ever in my life, in my career as a reaction VTuber, that I've seen a sponsor for belts. See, belts are a multi-tool. They can be used for keeping up your pants, and they can be used for how do you say that? You know, raising. I'm just kidding. Anyways, she showed the broken wrist and everything. He was clearly in pain, but she made him say it was his fault. That sucks. Yeah, it's just not good. I know what this. Don't worry. I know what this looks like. My mom is unfortunately like that. Are you a freak? Okay. No, not like that, right? I like a possessive woman, but not violently possessive.
Game. I actually got so annoyed with belt holes not lining up right or getting so stretched out that I actually just quit wearing belts, but Anson brought me back with their micro adjustable track system, so it actually fits perfect every time. When you just slide it and hear that click, it's so satisfying. They have a wide variety of styles, and it is so incredibly simple to just switch them out and swap with each other. What you want? You need work, professional, date night, casual, it's all here, baby. And because Anson Belt & Buckle is sponsoring this here video, when you click the link in my description box down below, or the QR code right here on screen and build your own box set, you're gonna get 2 additional bonus pieces, 1 belt and 1 buckle. That means you're gonna get 3 belts, 3 buckles. That's 9 unique combos all in 1 box. It's an exclusive deal you're not gonna find anywhere else. So hit the link, build your box set, and upgrade that belt game today. So like I said, I knew I had to make a video on this topic when I was scrolling through threads, saw these photos of this man with a horrible black eye, and then I saw the comments. Now, I spoke to this individual and he quickly removed this post, so he's asked that I do not show the photos or his username. And out of respect for him, I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to show the discourse that followed. If you're wondering why he doesn't want his information out there or the photos shown, often escalates when a victim finally leaves, and it can get especially worse when that person seeks out help or support. So I'm not going to victim blame him for trying to protect himself, because as you're going to quickly find out, the man has received enough blame already. Let's get right into this comment from Moonweaver's Garden. She says, "You sure about that, bud? Seems like you've got plenty of issues of your own to work out. You should look into reactive abuse. It may be very enlightening about your situation."
So he does something like what does reactive abuse mean? Is this like you do something wrong and she just beats the shit out of you, or he just beats the shit out of you? Is that an excuse? Oh, you forgot to turn on the dishwasher. Well, time to turn your eyes blue. Oh, you forgot to clean the windows. Belt immediately. Like, It could be for anything, right? It could be for anything. That's the problem. Big difference between possessive and abusive. Like, my man is mine, but I'm not gonna beat him if he's nice to a random woman. Oh, you open up the you opened up the door for another woman, so you have chosen death. Reactive abuse is when you're being abused and then start to hit back. Yeah, but the problem is that I get it, but like, you lose the moral high ground at that point because wow, now there's two abusers.
There's more to her comment, but I'm going to pause here in case some of you have never heard of reactive abuse. Reactive abuse happens when a person is just pushed, manipulated, gaslit, provoked so far that they react in a way that appears abusive, lashing out, screaming, maybe even throwing things. But the difference here is that this is so completely outside of their typical character, and they never would have done this without being pushed so far. And a lot of abusers thrive on pushing their victims to the point of reactive abuse because it gives them an excuse to point and say, see, I told you they were crazy. Now, reactive abuse is real, and punching someone in the face may be a reactionary response, but punching someone in the face is still assault. It is still illegal outside of self-defense, even if you felt provoked. With that said, let's read the rest of Moonweaver's little thesis to see why she thinks that blatant violent assault was justified through the reactive abuse framework. She continues on, the abuse doesn't start when hands are put on each other. It starts with that emotional unpredictability and dishonesty. I'm sure substance abuse and hunting for bitches while in and freshly out of a relationship don't help either. Men definitely deserve to be lonelier. So here, I guess, to help with her little evidentiary hearing, she posts pieces of his Threads post history.
I find this men deserve to be lonelier a rather interesting concept. Because do you know what happens if... See, the reason how you get quote-unquote misogynists and incels is because they are lonely. I feel like these people don't understand that. And when they're isolated, they become eventually bitter. And if they become bitter, they eventually become violent. In other words, you're breeding the men that you wish to be for them to be lonelier. It's a cycle. You wish the bad things to happen to these men and to happen to men, and you essentially get what you're asking for, and then you complain afterwards that you received something that you didn't want, but you are the cause of it. It's rather interesting.
Specifically outlining 2 posts. The first one she highlights says, day 2 of not drowning my sorrows in vodka. So this must be the post in which she gathers enough evidence to accuse this man of having a substance abuse issue. Crazy though, because this context actually implies the opposite. It actually implies that he is interested in achieving sobriety. Whether you're on day 1 or day 100, intentional sobriety deserves to be celebrated, first of all. But second of all, that post alone does not indicate or prove a long-term issue with substance abuse. Also, I'm sorry I have to keep censoring the word abuse. YouTube is just very, very strict about that kind of thing. It's not me. I would love to say words. Based on all of the other posts that she's cited, it's pretty clear that this man is just going through a depressive episode, likely because of his toxic relationship. Extensive research and empirical data continuously tells us that people who are experiencing intimate partner violence or domestic violence have a tendency to self-medicate. And this isn't an excuse or a justification, but it's important to understand why this happens. Many survivors of trauma develop chronic stress reactions, and one widely recognized model, the self-medication hypothesis, suggests that these survivors are a lot more likely to use alcohol and drugs to try to dampen or numb these triggers, such as flashbacks, anxiety, and PTSD. Personally, I'm proud of this man for recognizing that he was developing bad habits, naming them, and then holding himself accountable publicly in a way that was basically asking for help. Not a lot of men have the bravery to do that. In fact, most men choose the route of just suffering in silence, which
Yep, that is very true. Men don't need to be lonely. She does, kind of. God forbid a man experiences poor mental health. Well, that's also not fine because men don't even deserve their men's mental health month or any because like any day is obviously a man's day, right? In this man-led world. Anyways,
becomes more understandable when you see how many of them are just blamed and shamed the moment they choose honesty and vulnerability, as we're seeing here. And the next post here that Moonweaver has circled to imaginably imply that this man kind of had it coming was this one that says, "Hunting for bitches at the club." Now listen, I'm not going to do a lot of heavy lifting to defend the legitimacy of such a post. I certainly would not recommend any of you guys to post such a thing. It's pretty crass and ugly at best and dehumanizing and misogynistic at worst. I'd even venture to guess that he may have posted it to incite some kind of reaction. But to imply that it's offensive enough to warrant a black eye? If we punched each other over every offensive post we saw online, we'd just all be dead. I mean, you really think that posting "hunting for bitches at the club"
or I'd be I'd be dead. I'd be more than dead. I'd be like not 6 feet, more like 60 feet in the ground. I'd be like waving at you from the Earth's core at this point. Yeah, sure, buddy. You posted something offensive. So you've chosen death?
on Threads is enough to warrant getting punched directly in the eye, potentially causing lifelong orbital damage and blindness? Are you fucked? Are you fucked in the head? Like I said, it's an ugly thing to post, but let's dive even deeper into it. Because based on his other posts, I was assuming that they were either already broken up by that time, in the middle of their breakup, or had already been in some kind of completely unestablished situationship type thing. But let's go ahead and try to give as much possible charity to her claims that we can, and let's assume that they were in a completely monogamous relationship and he still chose to post that. Let's say he did full on cheat on her. And those of you who know me know that I hate cheating, and yet you are still not selling me on the "he deserved to get punched in the face" argument. Because listen, I don't know if you knew this, but you're allowed to just simply break up with people when they post things you don't like. You're legally allowed to leave people who...
Shocker. Yeah, we are in fact shocked by the idea of you can't just break up. See, you can use it, but even then cheaters, right? They could also just break up. They don't do that though. They don't do that though. They just don't do that. That's all there is to it. They just don't do that.
cheat on you. What you are not legally allowed to do is beat the brakes off of them. Because do you know how many women cheat on men every single day? And I highly doubt you would be justifying any violence that occurred to them, as I would.
Okay, so statistically, younger women cheat more than younger men. And then at like older age, this flips around and older men cheat more than younger women. That is the current situation we are in. That is how it looks right now. It's just 1%. It's a 1% difference. So it doesn't really matter. But like, we're pretty equal when it comes to cheating. The women have caught up.
Hope you wouldn't. But what she is implying from just 2 simple online Threads posts is that he must be a chronic alcoholic and a chronic in-person rage baiter, and so she just couldn't help herself. And to that I say, I just do not have enough evidence to make that same bad faith assumption. In fact, I actually went back 6 whole months on this guy's post history, redacting all names and faces here, and it was literally only until very, very recently that any of his posts were even mildly dark and depressing. Prior to whatever hell on earth this relationship was, All of his posts were about how much he loved seeing his friends, traveling with his family, how much he loved going out and having a great time, loving life. He even posted wonderful things about trying his best to cater to protecting women as much as he possibly could. By all context clues I found, it really seems as though some demon entered his life and completely ruined him. But that's just my interpretation. Moonweaver and others clearly chose the most violent interpretation possible, with some even comparing him to Brian Laundrie, the man who murdered Gabby Petito. Here is Moonweaver again, lending credence to these comparisons. I remember this case. I truly hate the world we live in and how entitled men enable each other to be. They really are unstable. I recognize it miles away in his tone. My baby daddy was like this and definitely cried to his mommy that I put hands on him after he'd been doing everything he possibly could to intimidate me after catching him cheating. Much like this guy's ex, I got
The fact that you call... See, yeah, this behavior is deplorable. Absolutely, if true. We have no way of verifying this, obviously. But I'm gonna say this. This is a hot take. You can see abusive men, like, from a mile away. Same with abusive women. Because, especially, right, when they marry them, right? See, here's the thing. This mostly goes for the hot take mostly goes for married couples. He or she was a dog shit partner in the relationship before the marriage, yet you still chose to marry the person and then complain that they're not different in the marriage. I've seen that very much. But yeah. I also found this very interesting that she let this man put a baby inside her. But she obviously couldn't see the red flags at all. At all. No, not at all. Not at all. Oh, so she beats men too? That's why she's defending it so hard? Or that?
fed up and set his ass straight. It's not all men, but it almost always is a man. And
the statistics don't agree with her at all. It's probably about equal. The reason you don't see it as much is because women cannot exert the same force. That's the only That's the only reason you don't see it more. Why can't the internet not be a place of miserable people? Because real life is also not a place of no miserable people. That's why.
it's all starting to come together at this point. A self-tell of the century. I get it now. The reason she is so quick to defend a complete stranger who beats men is because she also beats men. It's always a man, huh? Except when it's you, Moonweaver. Except when it's you. And Moonweaver did have a lot of support, I fear, including this comment from Stormy Leto with all of the confidence of an alpha male podcast bro saying that this man was definitely not hit by an intimate partner, despite admitting that men are hit all the time by women. So close, almost there. Swing and a miss, ma'am. And again, I do not know how she can be so confident in this conclusion because no part of his post history does disprove his claim. As I mentioned,
there is a simple reason why. There is likely projection. Maybe Moonweaver is a man. I am pretty sure that that's probably a woman. The way it talks, the way it posts, the way it writes, it's a woman. These are women in male fields. Truly. Who knows? These women are the way they are because they are the exact same thing. They are essentially projecting. Right? Right? So I cannot say much, but I know people in a marriage where one always lies. out of fear of getting beaten if he tells the truth, and he gets beaten anyways once he tells the truth regardless. So that is the current situation of these two. So gotta be a woman because she said baby daddy. Can't have a baby daddy if you're a man. Well, unless you are a trans man, I guess. Then you could technically, right? But that's not a man. We know this. R- Regardless, I know how this looks like, right? It could also be like a cycle where like one does something, like one gets beaten, does something bad, gets beaten, but if he does the right thing, he gets beaten anyways, so he can just constantly do the bad thing regardless because it protects him from getting beaten. I am experiencing this firsthand. It's not me, regardless, but yeah. I'ma go. Take care, Toasty. Bye-bye.
And I went through his post history ad nauseum. This dude went from a happy go lucky, laid back guy to a low self esteem, depressed husk of his former self. At no point does he contradict his original claim that he was hit by a former partner or change his story. Even in his replies, all he ever does is
Again, it's really easy to turn into that when you get like abused. It is really easy. Even if you're not, well, cheating is technically still abuse, right? Regardless, emotional abuse. Regardless, it's really easy. Even that can just like cause that. I would know. I would know. Though the second time didn't hit as hard. I need a mentally unstable woman.
thank people who do show him support, offer gratitude, while making very crystal clear that no matter what, he would have never hit a woman or hit them back, even while being hit himself. This is just one man's story of having to go private and go into hiding after not being believed, and worse, being blamed. But unfortunately, he's far from alone. There are so many precedent cases of men who have entirely lost their lives to this dynamic, and it deserves attention so that we can start changing the stigmas that keep men from being taken seriously. The first case that comes to mind at the very top of my head is the murder of Christian Toby Obum.
I remember a story that somebody posted on the internet when they were a young boy and they were raped by a woman, right? And that boy went to like these like help centers for like right, these kind of cases, right? And he described the women looking at him disgusted when he walked in as a young man or boy. That should tell you all you should know. That should tell you all you should know. That tells you everything.
Sully at the hands of his girlfriend, Courtney Clenny. You might remember this one, it's pretty recent, but Obum Sully, much like this man, documented his abuse and tried texting other people frequently that Courtney was becoming more and more violent. Despite this, despite the fact that he was stabbed to death, despite the surveillance footage that showed Courtney beating on him without him retaliating at all just moments before his death, and despite the fact that Courtney Clenny had absolutely no defensive wounds whatsoever, all she had to do was tell police on the scene that it was self-defense, and she was immediately cleared. Courtney got to continue living her life, going to the beach, partying, creating OnlyFans content for 4 whole months before she was finally arrested and
So you're telling me this woman took a man's life, said it was self-defense, was cleared, and then was just like living her best life for 4 months and being a hoe. That is crazy. Wow. Well, another case of some women can do no wrong. Male SA victims have literally no support. I'm not shocked by that story. I didn't talk about anything either. Like, nobody knows, and I tend to keep it that way mostly. Right? Nobody IRL knows. We good out here.
Charged with second-degree murder. The next case that comes to mind
I couldn't prove it anyways.
is the case of Jodi Arias, who brutally murdered her ex-boyfriend Travis Alexander in a fit of rage after he dared move on with his life with another woman. This man was stabbed 27 times, shot in the face, had his throat slit, and was alive for most of it. Just like Obamseli, Alexander feared for his life and tried to warn people that he was terrified of Arias, but no one took him seriously. They interviewed Arias the very next day, and she admitted that she was there for his death, despite them being broken up and her having absolutely no reason to be there, but all she had to say was, well, it wasn't me, it was two masked intruders. I just happened to escape. And then never tell anybody what happened. So they let her go. Weeks later, they go, you know what? That story actually didn't make much sense. Let's talk to her again. This time, Jodi goes, okay, you got me. It wasn't two masked intruders. It was me, but it was an accident. There I was, holding a
Yeah, an accident. I completely destroyed this man's body, right? It was an accident. Whoopsie. I just accidentally poked him with a knife 20 times. I just accidentally sliced him. I just accidentally put a bullet in his head. All an accident, of course. Whoopsie daisy. Happened. I slipped.
loaded gun, like you do when you go and visit your ex-boyfriend to have a quick chat, and then whoopsie daisy, pow, it just went right off into his skull. Crazy, right? Oh, and the 27 stab wounds and the slit throat. I just got scared and panicked, but you know how that happens. Just a total accident, right? And the police were like, sounds good, and then didn't arrest her again. And people actually say that female privilege doesn't exist. A whole month later, they finally arrest her, and even at trial, even after her several changing, contradicting stories.
You had the body. You had the body. How do you accidentally stab somebody 20 times? You had the body. What on earth? The thing is, I think these men should hit back if they're about to be deleted. But if they do, then they're the ones who'll face criminal charges. You can't win. You can't win. If you fight back, jail. If you don't, death. What do you do here?
Even though she also never had any defensive wounds, domestic violence groups and individuals still showed up to defend Jodi Arias and claimed that it was actually Travis Alexander who was the bad guy and made her act that way out of reactive self-defense. Luckily, after 3 whole days of deliberation, the jury finally understood the evidence enough to charge Jodi Arias with first-degree murder and sentence her to life in prison. There are a lot more cases I could reference, but I think you're getting the point. I'm not going to deny.
I wonder how many women got away with crazy shit. Right, I wonder how many women got away with crazy shit because they're women. You either die or go to prison. A lose-lose situation. Yeah, pretty much. But yeah, I wonder how many got away with crazy shit.
That men make up for more violent crime than women do, but I definitely think it's ridiculous how often we just do not believe that female perpetrators and male victims can exist at all. It's always females have their own autonomies and their own identities until it comes to taking accountability for their own violent actions. It's always, we care about all domestic violence survivors until one of them has a Y chromosome. If you're like me, I'm sure your cortisol levels are way too high, so let's wrap this up. If there's one thing I want you to take away from this video, it's this. Men don't...
High cortisol. hair starts falling out. I could see reactive self-defense stabbing him once. He was attacking her, and she just did it to get him away, then ran and called the police, sure, but 27 times. Plus gun, plus throat. Yeah, no way,
fail to come forward because nothing bad actually happened to them, or because toxic masculinity made their egos too big to talk about it, or because they actually did something wrong and have something to hide. They're not coming forward because they already know what happens next. They already know that the first question they're going to be asked isn't, "Are you okay?" It's going to be, "What did you do?" It's just the male version of, "Well, what were you wearing?" And neither of those are even remotely appropriate responses to someone telling you they've just been harmed. That's a reflex that doesn't protect victims at all. It protects abusers. And if you've ever been guilty of this, it's time to dig deep and maybe unwork.
Because it's not to support, like, right? It's not support to support victims. It's to uphold an agenda. It's just that. It's really just that.
Some of that reflex. And if you ever see someone being guilty of this, it's time to call them out. Because if harm only matters when the right person is hurt, then this has nothing to do with justice. It's all about optics. You don't have to like someone to acknowledge that they didn't deserve violence. You don't have to approve of someone's post history to oppose assault. If we actually claim to care about ending domestic,
Well, they kind of do that, though. Anybody remember Charlie Kirk? And, like, they said he deserved it because of the words he was saying and his internet history and all that stuff, right? We had that before. Nothing new. Nothing new here.
violence and ending intimate partner violence, then it can't be conditional on gender or likability. It can't be a popularity contest. Because until this changes, a lot of men are going to keep doing exactly what this guy did. Disappearing quietly, licking their wounds alone, and deciding that silence is safer than honesty. And that should make us all very afraid. Thank you so much for watching this all the way until the very end. This is one of the more important videos I think I've ever made, so it would mean a lot to me, and I think a lot of people watching, if you would just like the video so that this can get out there into the algorithm more, and help boost that algorithm by leaving your comments down below. And if you don't know what to comment, just say "stand with male survivors," because all of the engagement helps a ton. And if you did appreciate this video and you want to see more from me, definitely hit subscribe to my channel down below. All right, I think we could all stand to go take a walk and shake this one off a bit, but seriously, I hope this sticks with you. And like I said, I hope that you are less afraid to start calling this bullshit out, because
Nah, I'm still afraid of women. Anyways, so yeah, that's pretty much the end of the video. Yeah, I think if you are a victim of, if you're a male victim, you're just cooked. You're just cooked because everyone automatically assumes that you did something wrong. And that's why you deserve it. Or you just said something wrong once on the internet, so you deserve it. That is the unfortunate reality. We have seen this countless of times. And again, I'm curious how many women got away with crimes because they are women. I am incredibly curious what the numbers would say if we actually looked into that. Anyways, that is crazy. That is crazy. Wow.